Hello, everybody. A while back, I took a phone call, and this guy says, I have to have counseling. I said, okay, what do you want from counseling? What do you want? He said, I don't want anything. I have to have counseling. And I said, well, you have to have counseling. Why do you have to have counseling? He said, they told me I had to come. And I said, okay, well, who told you had to come? He said, everybody. They all told me I had to go to counseling. I said, all right. Was that your company, the place you work? Was it your family, your wife, your girlfriend? Did they tell you I had to have counseling? He says, they all told me I had counseling. I said, all right. I said, did the court send you to counseling? He said, no, but they all told me I have to go to counseling. I said, okay. And what issues did they tell you to discuss? And he went on and on and on. He said, don't you know? Don't you know what counseling's all about? Don't you know how to do this? And I said to myself, well, I hope I do, but usually people come in with some issue, some problem, something on their minds that's troubling them, they want some help with. They usually identify something. And he went on and on telling me how bad I was, and etc. And he finally, somewhere in all that ranting, he mentioned the word anger. So I thought to myself, anger, yeah, that makes sense, given what I'm listening to on this guy on the phone. Anger management. Somebody wants him to get anger management. I said, that makes sense. I said to him, do you have insurance? And he said, what? I said, do you have insurance? And he said, money, 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 money. That's all you want. You guys just want money. You don't care how I feel. I said, well, oftentimes people don't want to pay for counseling out of their pocket. So if they have insurance, they want to use that so it doesn't have to cost them money out of their pocket. And he went on saying, all I cared about was money and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, well, do you have insurance? And he said, yes, I have insurance. And I said, all right, what insurance do you have? And he says, what difference does that make? And I said, well, it could make a difference if you could tell me, what the insurance is. And he started going on and again saying all I wanted was money, and I had no interest in how he was feeling or what he needed or anything else. And then as he went on and on, he started to amp himself up. He got angrier and angrier and angry. And he just kept saying, all you want is money. You don't care how I'm feeling. You don't care what's going on with me. And he said, you know something? You're too effing stupid to be my counselor. I stopped and said, well, I'm glad we figured that out so quickly. Have a blessed day. And I hung up. I'd like to unpack some of the issues and all that from my point of view. First of all, I don't take phone calls, right? If I don't know the person, I don't answer the phone, right? There's a reason for that. First of all, we get crank calls, and sometimes when you answer the wrong call, they automatically start charging your bank accounts with things that you didn't even order. So I don't take those. But when it comes to clients and like that, let me back up a step. I work for 2 different counseling agencies, right? They do all the initial intake. They interview the person. They figure out the insurance, if there is any, the financing, the fees, and all that stuff. They take care of all of that. They collect it. I have nothing to do with it, usually. That's 2 different agencies. I have my own clients, but those are the ones who know me, and we don't do business through insurance. They pay me directly from them to me. But there's a professional organization around here that everybody belongs to. It's like if you don't have your name listed with this organization, you don't exist. No one trusts that you're a legitimate counselor like that. So we're all listed on this thing. I'm listed on it. And that apparently is where that gentleman got my phone number. He found my name and phone number on that agency's website, and then he contacted them. The agency had sent me a notice, a little text message, saying, give me his name and his phone number, and saying that he was going to call me. And so because I saw his name and I recognized that he'd come from them, and I was just an odd choice of my own at that moment, I said, what the heck, I'll take the call, which is not something I normally do. So therefore, I was on the wrong foot to begin with as far as that goes. In the meantime, trying to connect with this gentleman, he was obviously very, very angry. And I'm saying, okay, well, we're off to the wrong foot here. And he's going on and on thinking that all I want is his money. And the first thing I was trying to do was to calm him down, right? I figured if I could get him to talk about something other than this anger that he's obviously carrying around, he might shift his focus a little bit, and calm down and think about something else. And then when he was calmer, we could talk. So I was trying to get him off of his anger and his venting and his raging. That didn't seem to work. Now, at the end, when I told him, I'm glad that we figured out we're not going to be a good fit for counseling together, and I hung up, partly that was to send him a message. And another part of it was the fact that that was part of his counseling experience. I sent him a message saying, if you want to have a good relationship with a counselor, you might want to, come at it a little differently. So I'm hoping he took that message and, was able to benefit from it. Now, a couple of seconds, about 10, 15 seconds after I hung up, the phone rang again. And it was a lady's name and a different phone number and like that. And I was thinking, well, maybe this lady was sitting right next to this guy and she's calling me back to apologize and, work something out. So I said, if she's a client or etc., let the offices take care of all this stuff. I don't want to deal with it. So I didn't answer the phone. And it went to voicemail. She left a message. She said, hi, my name's so-and-so. Here's my number. Please call me back. I checked it later. And then after that, about 15, 20 seconds after that, the first guy called me back again. I saw his name. I saw his phone number. I said, okay, I'm not taking that, right? Let it go to voicemail. Well, he didn't leave a message, right? He just hung up. I said, okay, fine, let it go. Another issue that was coming up for me in all this exchange, remember, it happened pretty quickly. He ranted for several minutes and like that, but the whole reaction at the end was really fast, right? I'm thinking to myself, we are already off to the wrong start. This is not the way to begin a counseling experience and a relationship, right? We'd have to go back and repair that. Now, I was willing and able to repair that relationship if need be or if want to be, right? But he was going to have to come at me with something a little bit more workable, let's put it that way. If I were to try to make that relationship work, the first thing I could have done, which I would never have done, I could apologize and beg him to take me back as his counselor. That would never work, right? Or I could rise up to his anger, and meet his level of anger and come at him that way and say, look, sit, be quiet, sit down, calm down, or I'm not going to be able to work with you, something of that sort. Match his level of anger. I didn't want to do that either. I knew had we gone back and started off calmly that I could have fixed this relationship and I was able to move forward. I could do that. I understand it. I understand people get upset. I don't take it personally. I'm fine with that. But I figured just let this gentleman go and form a relationship, a clean start with somebody else. That would probably be the best thing for him. But the question becomes, what do we do with people like that? Because those people, they go through life and they're ranting at everyone. And that's how come he was telling me everyone told him he had to have counseling, right? Not only his friends and family and girlfriend, essentially, I'm assuming it was a girlfriend because it wasn't the same last name on the lady's phone call. They're all telling him he had to go to counseling. His job told him he had to go to counseling. Everything told him to go to counseling. There's something wrong. The gentleman obviously was hurt. These are what we call damaged people. Something in life has happened to them to put them in a bad frame of mind, a bad outlook on life and like that. Now, how are we going to get around all that stuff? Well, the first thing we have to do is calm them down and reach the person inside, the actual human being that's behind all that fire and bluster and anger and words flying left and right. You got to get behind all that to reach that. Reminds me of another couple. I talked to this lady a few times, and she said she wanted to come in to couples counseling with her partner. And I said, fine. I knew she was an angry lady and all that, but I didn't know the extent of it. And she came in with her partner one day, and when she entered the conversation, she was already ranting, right? She was going on and on and on about all these bad things that her partner did. Now, the partner is just like cringing in the corner, like wanting to cry. It's like apologizing left and right. I didn't do that. That's not what I meant. And she just kept going and going. She wouldn't let the partner speak. She wouldn't let me speak. She just kept screaming. And I'm saying, can we, get down to discuss this a little bit more rationally and calmly? She wouldn't hear it. She just kept going on and on and on and on, blaming the partner for everything, right? And blaming me. I was a terrible counselor, etc., etc. Well, I knew what the lady was doing. She was defending herself by not letting anything get in, right? No information. She was not willing to listen that she had ever done anything wrong. She wasn't going to hear that. And the way she kept that from out of her awareness was to create a lot of noise and a lot of defense. Push it away. Do not allow it to happen. This went on for about 15, 20 minutes. It wasn't all that long, really. And then she stood up, grabbed the partner, and took off. She was out of here. This isn't working. We're not going to come here anymore and all that. And she went off. I felt so badly for the partner, right? What are you going to do to help these people? Well, the case of the lady, I wasn't sure that anyone was going to be able to reach her because she obviously had been so damaged. She was so angry at the world, and she was so defended continuously and constantly, and fighting off the very people who are trying to love her and trying to help her and be a partner in life and all that. So I figured she was really damaged. She was really going to have to turn a corner before any of that could be addressed. But with the second guy, I thought there was hope. The first guy from the phone call. I thought there was hope for that gentleman if he was willing to calm down and to start addressing some of the issues. Now, the reason I tell you all of this, a lot of this has to do with trauma, right? Those folks, both of them, I suspect had a lot of trauma in their lifetimes. And trauma doesn't have to be physical. It could be emotional. We've discussed that previously. It could be constant put downs by family and friends. I know one lady and one gentleman who said they had been put down by classmates at school for various perceived imperfections, right, and like that, and they were just ridiculed and laughed at and made the bottom of jokes and etc. etc. And they really developed a low sense of self-esteem, and they were really harmed by all that experience, and that was trauma of another kind. But anyway, folks are traumatized. Now, to think about trauma, this is a very complex subject. I'm going to try to encapsulate it really quickly to make a point. But when we talk about trauma, we're talking about the animal nervous system. Some people say there are two nervous systems, the animal one and a higher nervous system. But be that as it may, everyone agrees that there is at least the animal nervous system, right? Animal nervous system. It's that whole fight or flight. When there's no threat going on, the person's calm and they can function in the world and get along. Then I'm assuming they're relatively happy or at least at peace. But when there's danger or trauma, the system goes into like a shock. The system sends some like current through the body, and the body's feeling it. And we can either, flight, which is run away. You can either run away from the thing, and if it's not a physical thing, you can step away or simply not talk or something. You can get away from it. Or you can fight the thing, right? Imagine a dinosaur coming. If the dinosaur's at your door and you can escape out the back through the cave, well, then you might want to do that. You might want to run away. Or you might pick up a spear and fight the dinosaur if you think you had a chance to do it that way. But there's a third state, and that state that state is, you've ever heard of a deer in the headlights? When the system, the animal nervous system, is so overloaded with emotion and a jolt and all the chemicals and electricity flowing through the body, the system can become overloaded and that animal or person can shut down entirely, right? And at that point, oftentimes, unfortunately, this happens to women more than men, but when women are assaulted like that, sometimes they say, I couldn't do anything. I just froze. I couldn't move. I couldn't respond. That is exactly what happened to them. They were so overwhelmed with the situation that their system physically shut down. They could not move. Like I said, the deer in the headlights. People wonder why a deer standing in the middle of a road in the middle of the night and a vehicle's coming at him with their lights on, why the deer doesn't just jump away. Most of them do. But every once in a while, a deer won't move. It has been frozen and it can't move. It has been cemented to that site. Their body is not responding, and you'll run right into it. That's what happens to it. Well, coming back to the case of human beings, when they have that kind of experience, whether we freeze up or whether we fight or we fly or anything like that, the body has had a tremendous shock. The muscles are all tensed up because they've been geared to take some action. one or the other. They've been geared to do something. And researchers have looked into a lot of these sorts of things, and they say the body remembers. The muscles in the body will store some sort of memory. And what they're storing is that sort of tenseness, that jolt, that electricity, that adrenaline, or whatever it is that shot through those muscles. Those muscles remember that state. And oftentimes people walk through life with that kind of a thing going on. They're constantly amped up, and they don't know why. I was talking to a lady not long ago, and I finally convinced her to go get a massage, right? And she did. And when she was talking to me, she said the therapist told her how tense she was. She said, "You're like a board. You're like a piece of steel. You're so tight, relax." And the lady told me, she said, "I never knew I was that tense all the time." And she said, "I finally was able to relax, and the massage was successful. And I felt so calm and at peace." And she said, I finally figured out what you're talking about calming the body down, right? That's what we're looking for. Because when the body calms down, then the mind clears. And then when the mind clears, now we can address the issues, because what's happening is that the body is remembering, the mind somewhere in the back is remembering all the bad things and is defending against it. That's why it's tense. It's tensed up because it's ready to fight, right? That's what was happening with the gentleman on the phone, and that was what was happening with the lady who came in with the partner, right? They were all tensed up and ready to fight. They were expecting that something bad was going to happen, and they were going to make sure they knocked it down before that thing could get to them, right? So when it comes to counseling, a lot of theories and modalities have come up of late referring to somatic sorts of approaches. Somatic, soma means body. So we come at counseling and getting to the trauma and the source of the conflicts by first calming the body. We calm the muscles of the body, get the person to calm down. At that point, then we can talk to them about the issues that are there, because the mind becomes clear and it's not clouded with noise. A lot of times people who are amped up or traumatized, they tell me that their mind is constantly going. It's just firing off with all kinds of thoughts and ideas and etc. And they said it's noisy in there. It's never quiet. It's always noisy in my mind. If I can get the body, if a counselor can get the body to calm down, the mind quiets. Now we can see clearly what the issue is. There are many ways to go at somatic sorts of approaches, many. And folks say to me, everybody, not everybody, a lot of people don't like to pay for counseling. They say it isn't worth anything. I can do it myself. And I tell you right now, yes, you can. You really can. But you have to work at it. You have to have a purpose. You have to know what you're doing. And you have to have a procedure to get you there, right? You can do it yourself. Number one way to go about that is to practice meditation. Most Americans in this culture can't sit still very long, right? But that will do it. Another one is yoga. They say the reason yoga works is because you have to put your mind so intricately on the things you're trying, the positions you're trying to accomplish, and etc., and the balance, etc. I'm not a yoga person, so I've tried a few of the basic opening exercises, but that's it. But they say when you're concentrating so deeply on those issues that you calm down, you stop thinking of the things that are clouding up your day. So that calms you down. Another one is dancing. Go out. I don't care what kind of a dancing you do. Anything salsa, tango. People are telling me they go from salsa to tango and love it. Other people do ballroom dancing, swing dancing, line dancing. People do line dancing. You don't need a partner, and you can go off somewhere and you just join the group, and all that kind of movement calms the body down. And at that point, when the mind is calm, then we can look at the issues. So that's the approach for the basis of somatic sorts of therapy. Get the body to calm down, release the tension in the body, and then we can address the issues that are going on that's causing the tension to come back up and repeat and to constantly show itself, right? Get the person to calm down. Can you do it on your own? Yes, you can. A lot of people don't know how, and that's when they come and ask for assistance. Oftentimes we can do this pretty quickly, depending on how deep we're going to go with the type of work we do. But you can learn the basic techniques in a few sessions. I'm not selling anything. Go buy yourself a book. Get free books and literature online. I'm just trying to tell you how it's done, right? A few sessions, a few instructions on how to get things done, and then you can do the work on your own if you wish, right? If you want to go into deeper issues, you probably should get some professional assistance, right? But that's the deal. So somatic approaches lately are very, very popular, and a lot of people are using them in a lot of ways with a lot of issues. So you might want to think about that. By the way, welcome to Counselor's Couch 101. I'm still Jim Stump after all these years, and I want to thank you for your comments and your emails. I put up a post about humor the other day, and I got some comments about that. I appreciate it. And I think it's rather telling, since the guy that brought me here in the first place has turned over to stand-up comedy, and I keep wondering what's going on with him, right? What's going on over there? The guy has reinvented himself a lot of times, and I hope he's well. I really do. So I want to thank you for stopping by. I hope this was worth your time and effort, and I look forward to talking with you next time. Have a blessed day.